Guys, we are live in a 30 seconds. Live.
Shall we start?
Yes, sir.
Good morning, one and all. I, Professor P.K. Tamkade from Department of Mechanical Engineering, MMCOE, Karvanagar, Pune, welcome you all in the second day of this international conference. After the successful completion of all the technical sessions on day one, as per the schedule, perfectly followed by all the session chairs and the participants, we are going to start the second day schedule. And also everybody has enjoyed a lot the keynote addresses, especially on day one by different dignitaries invited by IFERP, MMCOE, MMIT and IMERT Pune. In this day two, I request once again convener of this international conference, Dr. P.S. Purandare sir, Head of Department Mechanical Engineering, MMCOE, Karvanagar, Pune, to welcome all the dignitaries, participants, and the delegates. So please.
Okay. Good morning and welcome one and all. It is my pleasure to welcome all the dignitaries, participants, and colleagues for for 2 days this conference on the second day. I welcome the eminent speaker and the guest for today's session, Professor S.N. Kulkarni sir, Professor Putravan sir, and Professor Dilip Kumar sir. I am glad to welcome you to share your knowledge and vast experience as a keynote speaker for ICTAM's 2021. This is the conference in the history of our college, which is completely conducted on digital platform in line with the social distancing norms due to the COVID-19 pandemic. We are proud to announce that this conference is being conducted along with or in association with IFERP. The main outcome of this conference is interaction with some of the well-known researchers who presented their work in yesterday's sessions and to listen the knowledge of experience of keynote speakers. The crux of this conference is to use of digital technologies and virtual reality that is being increasingly adopted after the outbreak of COVID-19 pandemic. We hope this 2-day conference would help the students to expand their mental horizon and help the education system to adopt the best educational practices in and around. I request all the attendees to make the use of this 2 days conference or 2 days to the best of their abilities so that they will excel in their research. Good wishes to the participants and thank you. Thank you much. Thank you.
Thank you for the welcome address, sir. Friends, Professor S.N. I will like to take this opportunity to introduce Professor S.N. Kulkarni, sir, today's keynote speaker. Professor S.N. Kulkarni has many firsts to his name in the field of academics. He is the youngest Vice Chancellor of University in India. He also happens to be the youngest Director of Technical or Engineering Institute approved by the Government of India. Professor Kulkarni has completed his PhD coursework from the prestigious Indian Institute of Technology, Delhi in Energy Studies. His bachelor's and master's is in the Faculty of Electronics. He has varied experience in research and academia for over a decade and a half. He has set examples in teaching as well as research practices in India and abroad. He has been instrumental in conceptualizing, initializing, and establishing a number of academic institutes. He has been the director of many institutions imparting formal training in engineering, energy, medical, dental, pharmacy, mass communication, biotechnology, and management faculties. Professor S.N. Kulkarni was awarded Commemorative Medal of Honor, Hallmark 2000, by the American Biographical Institute, USA, in 1999 for exceptional humanitarian and professional accomplishments. He has also been appointed to the Research Board of Advisors of this prestigious organization since 2000. He has been the president of Energy Forum at Indian Institute of Technology, Delhi. He has worked as an invigilator and examiner for the Cambridge International College, UK, an active member of IEEE USA and IET UK, has been championing the cause of technology and education for more than a decade. I request Professor S.N. Kulkarni, who is also business consultant, Dubai advisor, Honorable Minister of Tribal Affairs, Higher and Technical Education, Government of Nagaland, India, CEO, Professor Kulkarni Solutions Limited, Vice President, International Accreditation Organization, IO, Houston, USA, and former Vice Chancellor, APG, Shimla University, Himachal Pradesh, to please address the audience. Professor S.N. Kulkarni, sir, please.
Good morning, good day to everyone. Jai Hind.
Jai
Thank
Hind,
you,
sir.
sir.
Good day because I have connected with you from Dubai. I have shifted to Dubai 2 years back after my stint as the Vice Chancellor of Shimla University. And on this occasion of Guru Purnima, let me congratulate everyone, in this organization, in the Marathwada Mitra Mandal. सगळ्यांना शुभेच्छा.
धन्यवाद आणि मनापासून शुभेच्छा तुम्हाला या
धन्यवाद सर, धन्यवाद.
It's an absolute pleasure to be speaking to all of you. In fact, before I start, I wanted to give you a wonderful information as well. Just yesterday, I have taken over as the Vice Chancellor of the Western Imperial University in Antigua. So that came in for me as a gift on the Guru Purnima. And, frankly, if you really look at it, all of us who are more students than educators, than teachers or researchers for that matter, we need to really understand what the time is all about, how things are moving on. And before I move into this wonderful effort that has been that is being witnessed over here in this prestigious institution, I would like to bring your attention to certain things that have been happening around the globe. And no, I'm not talking about the Chinese or the non-Chinese COVID. That's beyond the scope of this discussion and this conference, of course. What I wish to bring to your kind notice is a chain of events that has been happening for the past 30 days across the globe. Most recently, the devastating flood in West Germany. No, I'm not talking about the political West Germany. I'm simply trying to tell you the western part of Germany, Belgium and Luxembourg, that has taken, more than 100 deserving lives. Helsinki, one of the coldest capital cities in the world. There's a small place next to Helsinki called Vantaa. The temperatures have soared to about 35 degrees. 35 degrees in Finland. Yes. Lapland, one of the northernmost points in the world, better known as the village of Santa Claus. The Santa Claus. It is called the village of Santa Claus. Temperatures have risen almost to 25 degrees. A place called Narva. I'm very conversant about these places because currently I'm working on a couple of evaluation projects with the European Union. So Narva is a border town between Estonia and Russia, a thoroughly cold place. Temperatures have risen to 37 degrees. Why I'm telling you this thing? I mean, of course, everyone over here, all the students, all my wonderful colleagues, the honorable chairs for today's session, some wonderful names are there as keynote speakers. Um, uh, you know, everybody, and of course, the honorable chairperson for the Marathwada Mitra Mandal group of institutions and Director Saab. Everybody would be aware of these events, but we need to create a little chain. And from this chain, I would like to take you to what essentially I would like to convey today. It's not going to be a long, boring lecture, which we all are unfortunately so used to. We are going to talk about the future because we all understand that the basic subject in our institutions is not basic electronics or mechanical engineering or mechanics. I could pass my mechanics in the first semester at IIT Delhi with much difficulty. So hats off to anyone who teaches mechanics. These are not the subjects. Our subject in an institution is the student. And for that student to do well once he or she comes out of the institution is the primary goal. And I'm not talking about a job, I'm talking about a career. And this is where I would want our researchers, our people to move ahead to. We have been talking about Industry 4.0 regularly. But where we are heading to now is Industry 5.0. In fact, 2 years back, the European Union has come up with the basic white paper on Industry 5.0, where we are headed to. And what is the difference between what we have been doing so far and Industry 5.0? Very simple. Industry 5.0 has 3 keywords: human-centric, resilient, and sustainable. I'm going to talk about these 3 in a little detail just now, because I want it to be a little guiding factor for our researchers. I'm currently evaluating a few startup projects on behalf of certain governments in the European Union. And the keyword that we are looking at for funding projects, for funding research work across the globe, and even I have a project from one of the universities in India as well. As I said, the keyword is it has to be human-centric, it has to be sustainable, it has to be resilient. This is what is a crucial goal at the moment. What has changed from Industry 4.0 to Industry 5.0? It's a very subtle change. From taking care of the interest of shareholders, we have moved in Industry 5.0 to taking care of the interest of the stakeholders. So, for example, if in a factory, for example, in a factory that produces light bulbs or LEDs for that matter, the shareholders are the people who have invested money in that. But who are the stakeholders? The stakeholders are the security guards posted there, are the laborers who are working there, are the assistant managers and the deputy managers and the managers and the general managers and the CEO there. The people around that complex who directly or indirectly are influenced, or their life is influenced by this factory. And at the end of it, we have the people who have put money in that. The interest will be on stakeholders in Industry 5.0, not the shareholders. So yes, artificial intelligence would be there. automation would be there. The great Tesla would come up with driverless cars, but not at the cost of human beings, which is what brings me to the first important keyword of Industry 5.0, human-centric. What I have suggested to you just now, all of you, and this August gathering is what is being human-centric. We wish to ensure that our first aim is to maintain the standard of living and the basic standard for a human being. So as I said, artificial intelligence would be there, but not at the cost of a human being. And artificial intelligence, I will speak about artificial intelligence because that is my core area. My core area is expert systems. So we would have these expert systems to support decisions, not to make decisions. The decisions will be made by the human beings. That is where we are going to. Machines are not here to replace the human beings, not anymore. Industry 5.0 wants the human beings to be at the center of everything. Maybe it is, maybe it is influenced by all those Star Wars movies and the future movies that the Hollywood comes up with, where human beings get extinct and the machines are ruling the globe. I wouldn't know, but the end result is, the specific idea, the specific goal is human-centric. A human being is at the center of everything. Sustainable. We all know what sustainable is. If we had thought about what sustainable is a long time back, the glaciers wouldn't have been melting. What we've heard across the globe as far as global warming is concerned, of Finland, of Estonia, of Russian border, these things would not have happened. Sustainable. That is the basic point. So Industry 5.0. So the Industry 5.0 is specifically about being sustainable. Now, the basic point about this entire 5.0 industry white paper is to ensure that we understand that we offer more than what we take. It is exactly like the principle of Atma and Sharir, our soul. In fact, I was so happy to see some people are going to. I think Mr. Eric is going to present about Patanjali's yoga for busting stress. Wonderful. These are the things which are doing very well across the globe now. I will talk to you about sustainability with reference to the age-old Indian philosophy of Atma and Sharir. Atma is something that offers, that gives. Sharir is something that consumes. The more we consume more than what we give, the sustainability fails and we are doomed. That is precisely what the earth wants. This is precisely what the universe wants. We have to offer more, consume less. This is what sustainability is. And this is what specifically the researchers across the globe, and I have seen there are some people from IEEE as well who are and who would be a part of this. So that is again one of the thrust areas there. So sustainability and resilient. What is resilient? Good times, very good times, very, very good times. I keep on saying this. There are no bad times in the life. There are no bad times in the world. When I used to write computer programs, it used to get frustrating at many a times because the programs which I wrote would have n number of bugs. So clearing one bug at a time was always difficult. And this is where I developed the basic philosophy of having a good day or a very good day or a very, very good day. So the day when I had say 100 bugs to correct in my program, it was a good day. If I had 50 bugs, it was a very good day. If I had 20 bugs, it was a very, very good day. And if I had no bugs, that would have been an excellent day. I never had such an excellent day. It's all about the way we think about what life is, about what our research is. Is our research taking us closer to the human society? Is our research taking us closer to the goals, to the national goals of ours? Is our research taking us closer to our national character? Are we developing national character out of it? This is a debate which has been happening even in the Indian government circles for the past 3.5 years, if I'm not correct, if I'm not wrong. If I'm correct, I believe it's been happening, maybe in fact a little more, for 4.5 years, since 2015. What about our national character? Are we developing our national character? This is where the research has to go now. This is where our researchers have to move now. This is precisely where our fundings are going to come. Nothing works without money. I understand that completely. But this is where the funding is going to come. So if you say today, hey, I'm going to, create a machine that automates the job of a director of an engineering college. I'm not talking about this engineering college, of course. Don't take me wrong. But if that happens, nobody's going to fund you. But if you say I'm going to create a ventilator, a portable ventilator, which is going to go across the villages for giving oxygen to people in distress, yes, the the funding is there. If you say it's going to be an automatic ventilating machine, no funding. If you say it's a manual ventilator for the people, by the people, of the people, on this funding part is because every single institution needs money, needs a lot of money to grow. And since it is philanthropy, since it is a social cause in at least India, we have to ensure that the right kind of funding is available to us, available with us. And how that happens? That happens when the research is moving towards the right goal. So we are not talking about the research or the thrust areas which were there 10 years back. I'm taking you to a point where our students would find the world to be in an year, in 2 years, in 5 years, in 10 years. So where is our world going to be? Our world is going to be human-centric. Our world is going to be resilient. Our world is going to be sustainable. This is the keyword. So I wouldn't call it a keynote address. I would call it a note which has certain keys in this. The research has to match the test of time. Research has to match what is going on around the world. That is when we would be sitting equivalent to where the researchers in the Western world are sitting. My sincere advice to everyone, my sincere request to everyone would simply be that we at some point in time have to understand that the core research has to match certain geographical aspects. Now, just a few days back, I was talking to certain researchers in the University of Waterloo, which, of course, the subject was much different. The subject was actuarial science. They deal with the insurance and the policies across the globe and stuff like that. Now, we had come up with and for this August gathering, this will be the last part of my statement, so that I don't overshoot the time. I wouldn't know how much time I have. But anyways, we were talking about a national character, and we were talking about what can really work for us, what can really work for the engineers and human society across the globe. And one of the things that came up was human life. So if you noticed, in India, we say 15 people died, 30 people died, 2 people died. They are numbers who pass away as far as our Indian system is concerned. not many people take them as human beings, as people who had names, people who had legacies, people who would leave a legacy, people who have families who are left. Now, this is where our research has to go into. I'll tell you a very small experience of my life before signing off today. This was about 3 years back. I was traveling in a car from the capital of Finland, Helsinki, with a colleague of mine, Professor Gregory, the University of Helsinki, and we were traveling together. And of course, we were chatting while we were traveling. I was driving. The snow was there on the road. In fact, part of the road had black ice as well. Now there was a car in front of us, almost 200 meters in front of us. There was a car which was going. We were at about 40 miles an hour or something, a little more than that. Now the car in front of us skidded and broke the barrier, and there was a lake, a frozen lake, right next to the road. So the car got into the lake. Now, as we saw, the car started sinking in the lake because the lake was frozen, but at some places the ice may not have been strong, so the car started settling down. So Professor Gregory immediately called the emergency number. From the time the car started sinking and we started dialing, we spoke to that person on the other side of the emergency line, it must have been about 35 odd seconds. And when Professor Gregory spoke to that person, they said, we are aware of the incidents and help is on the way. I was calculating, time is very, very crucial for me. It's very critical for me. And people sitting over here, students especially, who are a part of this August gathering at the moment, will be surprised that when the car broke the barrier, got onto the ice, the snow-covered lake. From that time, only about 78 seconds had passed. By then, we were at the edge of the lake. We had stopped. And we heard a voice. We looked up. A helicopter came, dropped a magnet, picked up the car from the lake, which it had almost sunk till the windows, picked up the car, took the car to the nearest hospital, and we were told that 4 occupants were there, husband, wife, and 2 children were there in the car, and they were all saved. Now, this is fantastic. Trust me. For me, from somebody who's coming from India, this was fantastic. Would a government machinery work so hard for 4 lives or even 1? Nobody knew how many people are there in the car. This is where the human-centric approach of the Industry 5.0 is taking us. And this is where I would request our researchers to move ahead. Please remember, human life is critical. Human life is crucial. Once again, greetings to everyone on Guru Purnima. Thank you for inviting me for delivering this keynote address. Jai Hind, Vande Mataram.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Jai Hind. Thank you for giving us a positive approach. What a positive approach, rather, I would like to say, towards life, that the life or a day can be good, very good, or very, very good. There is no question of having any day bad at all. Rather, we can hope for an excellent day. Somebody has rightly said that a bad attitude is like a flat tire. You cannot reach anywhere until you change it. You spoke about the latest technology, artificial intelligence, and ultimately everything should be oriented towards human welfare. We should have human-centric approach. And now we are from Maharashtra in India, and the floods are going on, and the help from the government or governmental agencies, administration is in the process. But what you said, the example of the sinking car in the lake you gave, that is really appreciable and that is really fantastic. There is no other word than that. And such human-centric approach, every person from every country will expect from the government, will hope for that excellent day when such human-centric approach will be everywhere. Thank you very much for your positive thoughts, sir, positive speech. Now I welcome Professor Iot Trends, Professor at Faculty of Psychology, University of Pancasia, Indonesia. I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce Professor Putrawan to all of you. Professor Putrawan sir has done MBA from Newport University, STIE-IMNI, Jakarta, Doctor in Education, has been graduated from IKIP Jakarta and State University of New York at Albany, New York. He has done doctorandus in Biology Education, graduated from FKIE IKIP Jakarta, Bachelor of Art BA in Biology, graduated from Udayana University, Singaraja, Bali in 1973. His research areas are quality of life based on pro-environmental behavior related to and contributed by performances. Individual system mechanism included environmental big five personality, social and cultural systems, organizational system which included environmental leadership and value belief in norm model. Sir has taught different streams like research methodology, statistics, ecology, leadership, school management, organizational behavior, strategic management, biological, psychology, neuroscience, etc. He is a recipient of Best Presenter at IGI-GAR Conference by Headway Global Research Agency, Singapore Award in November 2018. Sir has many publications to his credit in renowned national, international journals and the conferences, and he has received grants from many agencies for his research work. I take this opportunity to welcome Putrawan sir in this session for the keynote address, and on behalf of you all, I request Professor Iot Putrawan to please start with his keynote speech. Sir, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pradeep. And ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I would like to thank to the organizing committee, especially from the IFERP institution, which gave me a chance or opportunity to share my experiences to all of you, especially for the participant during the ICTM conference on this July 20 and 21. It's very honor to say thank you for all of the participants, including keynote speakers, and especially Mr. Pradeep. And the title of today's keynotes from me, it's sound to be relevant with what Professor Kulkarni. How are you, Professor? Just right now to see you on this conference, but fortunately, it's very related to what you have told us about the three things of the 5G's industrial revolution, what we call the at the business sector, we call it industrial revolution or something like that. And it's very relevant because according to Prof. Kulkarni, that there are three things we have to focus on at the era of 5G is human-centric, resilience, and sustainable. But I'm focusing on my keynotes right now to be shared to all of you is regarding with the question, should human behavior be adaptable? Or should human behavior always, for every time, should be changed in order to adaptive to what has been we got an experience in as a human life for fulfill the basic human needs, as Kulkarni mentioned earlier, that the standard of living for the human being, according to me, it should be depend on how the human being change their behavior. So this is not a time for teaching for all of you. So that's why I just reminding for the Industrial Revolution for 4.0, which dominated by cyber physical system, IoT, Internet of Things, and networking. And as I would like to read this statement that Industry 4.0 is the evolution of cyber physical system representing the fourth industrial revolution on the road to an end-to-end value change with industrial Internet of Things and decentralized intelligence in manufacturing, production, logistics, and industries. Very remarkable improvement if we view from the improvement of science, engineering, and technology, which is the title of right now conference about the international conference on emerging engineering and technology and science and management. So the networking is the point, is the core if you are talking about the human centric, as mentioned by Professor Kulkarni. So the people and the business and the things will be influenced by the digital security, adaptability and flexibility, and also IoT, rapid integration, and skill performance, of course. If you are going to measure the human performance, it should be started by looking at how far employees or including the student, if the campus is an institution or organization, should be measured by looking at how they behave. How they behave in facing the new technology, which basically derive from scientific and engineering improvement. So what we call the smart factory is based on this industrial revolution 4.0. It's very influencing in the process of the emerging from a couple of years, started with the 5.0 Gs in several countries in the world, as an evidence that the technology has a remarkable improvement. So the networking is also very important for us. So that's why during this interaction, whatever they say, horizontal integration or interaction during the 4.0 industrial revolution will be characterized by human behavior. And there are 6 principles focusing on industrial revolution at 4.0 G. The first is interoperability and interconnection. Second one is information transparency and virtualization. Number 3 is decentralization and autonomous decision. Next one is real-time capability and technical assistance and service orientation, and finally is modularity. This 6 principle, I think, will be contributed by all of the participants which will present their research results, which mostly, after I read from the list of agenda, most of you will talk about the technology. So, with technology such as augmented reality, aiding engineering development process, smart factories, using a new era in efficient production. So that's why Industry 4.0 looks set to be trend dominant. This is what the title of our conference today is concerned with. That is the most engineering demand for 2020, automation and robotic engineer, as mentioned earlier by Professor Kulkarni, alternative energy engineer, civil engineer, environmental engineer, biomedical engineer, and system software engineer. For example, like this is the simple example, how 3 things combine together, join together, contribute to each other, which emerge with a new technology, which we call X-rays, by scientists, by engineers, and of course, implemented for human living standard, which the function of technology will work for this operate machine. This is an example how 3 things will combine, will have the remarkable improvement, which fortunately, negatively or positively will affect our social life. And the most important thing, according to me, will be influence our behavior. How do we behave regarding with this remarkable improvement? So we have to consider, we have to think it over again, but that's technology is human knowledge. Technology use tools, material, and system. Application of technology result in artifacts, human-made things, or other outputs, pollution and scrap. Technology is developed by people to modify or control the environment. And as mentioned also earlier by Prof. Kulkarni, artificial intelligence is also as a product of and useful and meaningful for human-centric. Because artificial intelligence refers to the simulation of human intelligence in machines that are programmed to think like humans and mimic their action. The term may also be applied to any machine that exhibits traits, its kind of character, personality, and associated with a human mind, such as learning and problem solving. So it cannot be unstoppable. The improvement of science, engineering, and technology. This is what we got an experience every day during the pandemic, COVID-19. So we have to entertain ourselves to reduce our emotion, to manage our stress in order to avoid the infection by the virus COVID-19. So we have to, thanks to all of the engineers all over the world, which produce a new technology. But the technology also has a negative influence on social interaction. According to some people, some experts said that the human being has been reduced its social capital. But not from me, but according to one of the statement given by Lauren Klein, say that the effect of being raised environment enable individuals to be constantly wired in. The issue of developing reduced social capital. So that's why the desire of individual to never be unplugged from technology is representative of the way that digital interaction are diminishing the ability to effectively interact with other humans. And also, it has also influence, the bad influence on personal development. Like what the statement, I can quote from this statement, the continuously changing world of technology has created issue for human connection, both to ourselves and to others. Humans have issues regulating consumption of technology, which seem to create physical. This is important thing, to be focused on human-centric, psychological, and behavioral issues. There needs to be additional research on the effect of technology has on developing minds and their personal and interpersonal relationship. So I would like to invite all of you with collaboration, research collaboration, including one of you, which is going to carry out such kind of research, which related the technology, whether its effect on negative or positive impact on human behavior. And again, from University of California, Lauren Klein says that the digital age of Generation Z, but I'm sure that I am still belongs to X generation, not Z generation, has been raised in a group that is always wired in, and in turn has reduced social capital. So that's why the education has the most important thing to be taken into consideration, because education also especially during COVID-19 pandemic, influenced by the improvement of technology, by digitalization of learning and teaching process, which the last sentence I don't like to hear, because I'm a professor, I'm a lecturer, so I got an impressive feeling that all of the students will less respect, especially for my lecture, because the same information can be found online. It's very unfortunate to be a professor in this case. So education also influenced by positively and negatively technology. So that's why we have learned from the organization, such as like institution of the campus, a company, or wherever you work right now, but behavior can be learned from organization. It includes a perception and how to set a goals, how to improve your skill, and how to change your attitude, how to manage your emotional reaction, and the last but not least, meaning and use of language in order to hinder from the conflict. That's very important, and this is this another subject of change management and also conflict resolution or something like that, which invite to be conducted for doing your research. And why we talk about the behavior, because since 1991, 1985, ASEAN has produced what he called the TPD, theory of planned behavior, which consists of intention, behavioral intention before to be behavior, which will influence by attitude toward behavior, and perceived behavioral control, which mostly close to self-efficacy and subjective norm. In detail, you can see this is the theory of planned behavior, which of course the most important factors which influence the intention of to act before it's becoming behavior is attitude toward behavior and perceived behavioral control, which according to Albert Bandura, is mostly close to self-efficacy. Self-efficacy is a belief. Someone is able to do anything assigned to them, to him, to her. And then based on theory of planned behavior has been developed by Stern, the model of what they call value, belief, and norm model, VBN model, which also influenced by values orientation and belief, which consists of new ecological paradigm and norm in order to explain and predict about the environmental behavior. Because if you have the positive pro-environmental behavior or pro-ecological behavior, we can contribute to save the only one planet that we occupy as an habitat right today. We are not moving to Mars yet because we have to save our planet in order to improve the positive direction of human behavior to be love with the environment. And why I'm talking about the behavior? Because of the technology improvement, because of the remarkable of improving of this scientific engineering and technology. So we have to focus on our behavior. There's a question to my mind. We should adapt to the new technology, or we have to against the new technology, or what? So that's why we have to work on behavior. So most of the research, I would like to invite to all of you to work on behavior, because behavior is very important according to some model that I found from several articles and textbooks. Look at this. For example, like Colmus talk about pro-environmental behavior, and Angerford and Fogg, 1990, talk about citizen behavior. Whatever the name, it's the meaning is always the same. This is Heinz, which modified by Blakey, 1993, also talk about responsible environment behavior, which is closely related to pro-environmental behavior. We are also, if we have a teaching and learning at the classroom, we expect the student will change their behavior by giving them knowledge, by changing their attitude based on knowledge, and then we expect they will change also their behavior. We work with behavior, and most of the management books, textbooks, including organizational behavior model proposed by Colquitt 2019, talking about the job performance. Job performance is not achievement. Job performance is not about the effectiveness of the work, productivity. It's not job performance. Job performance, which influenced by at least around 15 factors. This is very familiar model, which usually used by my students for doing their research for their dissertation. And of course, job performance is influenced by task performance, citizen behavior, counterproductive behavior. We are talking about behavior again because job performance defined by Cockpit et al. In 2019 is the value of a set of employee behavior. Again, we are talking about performance, we are talking about behavior, not something else, which divided by citizen behavior, organizationally or interpersonally, such as like helping. If the employee like to help others, it's 1 point for their job performance. So when we back by using 1960s books, textbook in management, when we read about the performance is equal to behavior. This is Greenberg also talking about behavior, influenced by personality. And also Maxine and Gleno also talk about behavior, which they call the Mars model. Mars is motivation, ability, and role perception, and influenced by situational factors, which as an antecedent of this model, affected by personality. So personality should be changed if you want to change behavior. Your character, your traits should be changed first if you want to change your behavior. Like what you have seen during the COVID-19 pandemic. The most influential factors why the infection so rapidly across to the human being is because of behavior. Human behavior doesn't want to use mask, doesn't want to wash their hands, and also disobey about this social distancing. That's a kind of behavior. And this is a kind of strategy that I propose to all of you. If you want to achieve behavioral adaptability, so you have to something what in management say prioritization. Which one is the most priority? For example, like human capital management or psychological capital. This is can be conducted by using a training and development in each of your institution. So come up with the sustainable development goals, and 17th of these goals is also concerned with the behavior. Look at this in sustainable development goal. All these sentences use the working sentence like planet to protect our ecosystem. To protect, is it a personality or behavior? That's a behavior. To end poverty and fight inequality. To end poverty, you have to come up with the action. We are not only discussing by seminar, conference, and producing a lot of policies, but nothing action. It's just like no action, talk only. This is action to promote safe and peace, to catalyze. That's we're working with the behavior. That's why after I'm talking about, after I have talked about the improvement of science, engineering, and technology, and how technology influence the human, including human behavior, by using social media, by reducing social capital, and etc., etc. And then the question is how to improve to the positive direction to change our behavior. The most influential, according to me, this is my proposal. This is my hypothesis. The most influencing factors that we can into account is psychological capital, which belongs to human capital. This is intellectual capital consists of human capital, social capital, and organizational capital. Even we have a great kind of institution as an organizational capital, but depend on employee, depend on the person, depend on human, depend on people. So if we say about depend on the person, people, so we will focus our strategy on psychological capital. Why psychological capital? Because psychological capital have 4 dimensions. The first is hope, second optimism, and efficacy. And this is one thing mentioned also earlier by Keynote Prof. Kulkarni, resilience. For example, like if you don't have any hope, if you don't have any optimism, so you will die already. You don't have any kind of intention to change your behavior. You have to have a higher hope. Not only expectation, but hope is a rather broader meaning instead of just expectation. You have to be optimist. You have to have a strong efficacy and a strong resilience in order to survive in this world. So that's why if you want to change easier to change your behavior, work with psychological capital. This is psychological capital by using a different description. And the question is how to build our psychological capital, how to strengthen our psychological capital. One thing that I propose on this occasion, ladies and gentlemen, is authentic leadership. Why authentic leadership? Because authentic leadership is part of transformational leadership, which according to Robin and Judge 2019, authentic leadership belongs to part of transformational leadership. This is not bad transactional, but this is not good transformational leadership style, but it depends on situation. By using McGregor X and Y theory, if your followers weak in motivation, use transactional, give them a reward. But fortunately, if you have followers, students have a strong motivation, yeah, we can use transformational. Oh, why authentic leadership? Because authentic leadership has 4 points. The first, self-awareness. And then the second, relational transparency, vigilant. And then balanced processing. And finally, internalized moral perspective. Do the right thing. So if you think about self-awareness, it's very important in building, in empowering our psychological capital, because we have to, first of all, ask ourselves, am I a good leader? Who am I? It will lead us to the dimension of psychological capital. That's why I'm glad to read several articles and also article written by Fred Luton and Alfalo 2003. This is Luton and Alfalo 2003, which directing the psychological capital will be influenced mostly by self-awareness, which automatically the leadership style can be used authentic leadership. Why leadership? Because all of us here in this forum during this conference. Frankly speaking, we are working with the organization, institution, or whatever the institution should have a leader. So that's why if you are a leader, so use your leadership style by choosing the right one. So that's why there are 4 very important words after I'm talking about the relationship between science, engineering, technology, in line to our theme of this conference, ICETM. So will come up with the management, which we are talking with. I'm talking about the leadership. It's a part of the management, and psychological capital also belong to the part of the management. There are 4 important words for all of you: love, honesty, truth, and respect. So if you are going to be everything, if you are going to be anything, not nothing, you have to have love, honesty, and truth and respect. By what? By this. So, ladies and gentlemen, educating the mind without educating the heart is no education at all. So this is my field, because I'm not engineer, I'm not a technician. So that's why I propose the 4 hypothetical notes to be taken into consideration by all of you. So the first thing is, the more developed of technology, the easier human to fulfill his or her basic needs. So if you want to fulfill your basic need, you have to adapt yourself to the technology, to new technology. That's why I need to strengthen behavioral change to be more adaptive. By what? By empowering your psychological capital. How? Using the management, the role of authentic leadership. So that's a small from me. Please accept my apology if this is, according to you, it's not whether you are agree or disagree with. This is a kind of hypothetical statement. Thank you very much. Once again, I would like to thanks to the organizing committee, including Madam Popojo and Mr. Sudakar, with intense communication. And this is not the first time as I'm as a keynote speaker, because in 2019 also I worked a lot with friends, guys from IFERP in Jakarta, in Kuala Lumpur. And so at the end of August, my institution is going to be a co-host for your next conference. I hope I can contribute a lot by sending you as many as my students to get Scopus, to get article published by Scopus Index. Thank you, moderator, Mr. Pradip. And once again, please apologize, accept my apology if there is some mistake, because my English is not so good. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir.
Santi.
Thank you, sir. Yes, although a different area, as you said at the end of your session, this was really necessary, and it has enlightened us. Related to the behavior, whatever hypothesis you shared with us, different types of behavior like organizational behavior, citizenship behavior, and ultimately the responsible environmental behavior you shared. One should aim at that, because in the session somewhere in between you said that simulation of human intelligence in machines can be done. They can think like the human beings, but they cannot copy the human behavior. Human behavior is a different thing, and educated minds along with the educated hearts will make this place, make this planet lovable rather than livable. So for that, love, honesty, truth, and respect, either towards ourselves, self-respect, or the respect towards others are the necessary constituents to improve the behavior and to improve the place. So thank you for sharing your valuable thoughts on totally different topic.
Thank you.
Yes. Now I take this opportunity to introduce our next keynote speaker, Dr. Dilip Kumar M. He is Pro Vice Chancellor, GNS University, India, ex-professor, UNES, Netherlands, University, Uttara, Malaysia, Berjaya Business School, Malaysia. Professor Dilip Kumar M is an educator, entrepreneur, educational consultant, academic administrator, and professor of Nilai Field Research Center, Malaysia, having 18 years of experience. He has worked in the institutions like University Institute of International and European Studies, Netherlands, Berjaya Business School, Malaysia, International Teaching University, Georgia, East Europe, University, Uttara Malaysia, Malaysia, Ministry of HE and Ministry of Manpower, Sultanate of Oman, Symbiosis Center for Management and HRD, India, etc. He was the director of DBA program, UNIES, Netherlands, head of leadership, innovation, and change competence center, Uttara, University Uttara Malaysia, Malaysia, and coordinator of research method courses for DBA and research programs in UUM, Malaysia. He was director corporate relations and training during his tenure with EMS in India. He has selected as the best employee in MOMP colleges and got the outstanding performer recognition in the academics from Ministry of HE Oman. Working with the academia, he has published 170 research papers and case studies in management, including many Scopus journal papers, 56 online articles, 9 books, 3 monographs, 6 papers in edited books, several case studies, and presented more than 70 research papers in international conferences. He has secured several funded projects from ministries and corporate. He is the editor, editorial member, reviewer of several international journals, including Scopus journals. He has secured Best Researcher Award, Best Research Paper Awards in IBRIICT Conference, SJBIT Conference, and IPE National Conference in India. I request Dr. Dilip Kumar sir to please address the audience. So please.
Thank you, Pradeep. Good morning to one and all. And let me thank IFERP, and that is an organization for engineering research and publication. And at the same time, specifically to Mr. Sudhakar and Ms. Pooja, to invite me for this particular conference to share my viewpoints, which is specifically connected to the theme of the conference, which is more into engineering, what you would say, management, as well as I'm adding one more term, which is called as technology. This is exactly the theme of this conference, and I'm strictly adhering to this, what you would say, the topic which allocated to me today. And this is exactly where I would like to share my thoughts. So as Professor Kulkarni has mentioned here, where exactly the research scholars, the faculty members, everybody should focus. This is exactly he has communicated. And the second speaker also has mentioned about the human side of enterprises connecting technology and connecting behavioral theories and likewise. So my intention is to connect all these aspects and orient the next generation researchers as well as research scholars and faculty members on identifying certain areas, and that areas are crucial to any academic or research or collaboration or any kind of consultancy movements. So let me start with, I'll try to adhere my time strictly on that, but let me move fast. So connecting to this, basically I'm connecting to a strategic roadmap for this effort, which are connected to this academic deliberations. What are the areas we need to focus? Technology is on one side, connecting that with the engineering process. And we need to look at the human side of enterprises, connecting all those with the proper process integration. And that need to be managed with the support of people, technology, and different processes. And that exactly leading to a point which is called as strategic resilience. So this is exactly I'm talking about today. So major content of my interaction today is specifically connected with technology and engineering. Of course, it has its connection to the business and management, because without production, something cannot sell in the market and the profit cannot come up. So the production process or the engineering, production, R&D is in the initial stage, and the final stage is exactly the business performance and likewise. So engineering, technology, and management. Absolutely, this trend is accelerating. Even the COVID-19 scenario has created severe impact. EduTech, AgriTech, FinTech, you look into consideration of any functions connected with management or engineering. It's all moving towards technology application. So this COVID-19 scenario specifically, making professionals to realize their role that will now stay the same in the contactless world tomorrow. This is exactly going to happen, a contactless world, a virtual reality platform. And here what we have to move across is constant learning, then unlearning, and then relearning. This is exactly to be done. Whatever the process which we were following in the past, that need to be relooked into. And many processes which are now running through the technology applications, which were running through earlier by human beings, and automated processes are integrated. Different modes of IT applications have come into. So a kind of unlearning is needed. If you try to be rigid and conditioned, it's not going to work out. You will be losing your job shortly. So the most important aspect, whether it is an engineer or it is a business guy or any other professions which they are dealing with, they have to engage in the process of learning new things and phrase it, whether that learning is absolutely giving you appropriate output or not. After that, once again, if that turned to be redundant, then completely unlearning to be done and a relearning process to be. So what does this mean for you basically? It means basically staying current with new technology trends, keeping your eyes on the future. And skills, what are the skills? The 2020 to 2021 movement, exactly, that century movement. What are the skills turned to be redundant, especially last 5 to 10 years duration, which are the new skills needed? If you're not having that, you will be outdated and you will be thrown by the industry shortly. To secure a safe job tomorrow, we need to completely involve in the process of learning, unlearning, and relearning. And even all the, all woes to the world pandemic, this COVID-19 scenario, most of the global population is sticking back and working from home. This was a new concept to them. So engineering as well as technology as well as management, they try to put their hands together and they are moving together nowadays. It was specific verticals. Engineering never mix up with management, never mix up with the other processes. So now they have to. This is exactly the new generation trends coming up. So if you look upon that, the new and trending technologies, this is exactly my content of this short speech. So if you look upon the trends in the Internet of Things, this is exactly the major trends happening across. So it is connected to artificial intelligence, big data analytics, predictive, and it's all based on prediction of business, prediction of sales, prediction of marketing, everything connected to the predictive maintenance. with huge volume of data velocity and veracity. And the digital twins, edge computing, widespread applications, 5G, blockchain. This is exactly the IoT trends which are happening in 2020, 2021. Here we are exactly talking about smart homes, smart gardening, smart cities, smart watering system, smart factories. Recently, when I was in Morocco last 1 year, 2020, I was there, my last assignment in abroad, now in India. So last around 10 years, I was in abroad where exactly I could touch this change very clearly. Take an example, one company called as OCP. And that company exactly held 52%, 51.68% of shares of phosphate. And that company exactly started a new university, which is called as Muhammad VI Polytechnic University under the king's name. You see the kind of changes which is bringing into this company. It has its 5 phases, 5 locations. And they have established digital or smart factories inside. It's not a factory setup to guide the entire change process, digital transformation. They set up smart factories. And now focusing on IoT, digital health, digital retail, and smart logistics, supply chain thing, inventory management, logistics. All these things are happening through these technology platforms. So the market trend, if you look upon that, it is moving up to such $1 billion. And it is predicted that this is going to this figure in 2022. I'm telling you, this, I got it by 2019, 2020 data. But I'm telling you, this data may be having much $1 million conversion in comparison with when I got this data. All right. Then connecting how the companies around the world are using artificial intelligence now, applications of this. Detecting, deterring security intrusions, around 44% of the companies are using it. Resolving the users' technology platforms and problems. Reducing production management work by automating. Gauging internal complaints in using approved and using run. This, if you look upon these parameters, you can see that applications of IT, it's happening. Applications in marketing, applications in finance and accounting, applications in customer services, these kind of trend with the support of technology happening. So if you look upon what are the most significant barriers, there exactly the research is coming into the picture. What are the barriers? Because researchers have to provide the solution, whether it is engineering research, technology research, or human management or management research, they have to provide, they have to settle the concerns of industry or the stakeholders. So the most important barrier is security challenge. That's what cybersecurity turned to be a prominent area now. There the researchers have to make focus. IoT integration, still it is. So all the traditional job descriptions, job analysis, job specifications, everything to be converted into technology-driven job process. So this itself taking around 1 to 2 years duration. If you need to grab a long-term advantage of this process integration, you need to start now. And a lot of things like unreturned ROI. Everywhere you cannot apply technology integration. Everywhere you cannot. Certain businesses, certain industries should be run through traditional brick and mortar style itself. If you touch it, you will be losing the game. So which are the companies and which are the sectors where we can apply more technology-driven applications and which are not? We need to clearly understand. Otherwise, you will lose your return of investment. So in interoperability issues, data portability, vendor risk, which vendor is going to supply you? Is it through SAP or is it through different platforms? Are you going to integrate it? Transition risks are there? Network constraints are there? Vendor lock-in is there? So a lot of issues you need to handle it. So if I talk about barriers, I'm also talking about the benefits it's going to get it. I'm sure about it. A lot of case studies available connected with engineering, connected with business management and technology applications. Hundreds and thousands of cases coming from IBMs, or you can see that it improved the operational efficiency, improving productivity, creating new business opportunities, reducing downtime, maximize asset utilization. ability to sell products or service, reducing assets life cycle costs. You take into consideration a lot of areas IIoT. It is not IoT nowadays. Industrial Internet of Things drivers. This is exactly happening. It's not IoT. IIoT things are happening. Complete automation with the support of these platforms. So if that is the case of IoT, I'm connecting that with artificial intelligence and machine learning. That is a trend going on. The second one. Look at how it's contributing, how it's connected exactly. It is connected to the blockchain. It is connected with IoT applications. It is connected with 5G, virtual reality and augmented reality, robotic process, edge computing, quantum computing, cybersecurity, all these areas. It's penetrating, completely penetrating. And this is the new trend of engineering, technology, and management. As Professor Kulkarni said, it's not integration of the technology matter. Ultimate decision-making is coming from human being, where exactly the management decision-making process coming up. So earlier it was separate. Now it's well connected, and all the real-time data coming from big data platforms, and likewise, you are trying to pull the real time and you process it, the data, and finally you take the decision. So the rise of augmented intelligence is going up. The McKinsey data, the Gartner data clearly indicate where exactly this augmented intelligence going to support. Around 44% you can see over here. You can see over here, it is expected in decision support augmentation. And decision automation is also coming up. The agents are there, and smart products coming out from it. So business value, I'm now connecting from technology to business. The value forecast by artificial intelligence types of decision support, agents, decision automation, smart products, you can see over here, the millions of dollars connected. And it's going, supporting for business value creation by around, you can talk about 2025, it turned to be more than around $2,500 million worth providing. So the growing role of AI and ML on hyper automation, you need to understand what is this all about. It's connected to the task automation, process automation, business automation, business process integration, event processing, and conversational UX platforms, and finally intelligence, connecting to the intelligence, that it is leading to hyper automation. And it's opened new doors for new opportunities to many firms and many industries. The best example I can tell you, assistants like Alexa and Siri, automatic opening doors and the windows, and even lighting up these facilities, lighting facilities, all kinds of things are connected through this AI and ML platform, and it is paving a new path to hyper automation integration in industries as well as domestic costs. So the overlap is reducing now. Earlier, AI platforms and IoT platforms, they turned to be separated and moved ahead. But now you can see, based on the Gartner research data, 80% of enterprises, IoT projects will include AI in some form by 2020. It means that it's going to be increased in the coming days. The future is home robots or autonomous vehicles, natural language processing and e-payment and voice authentications, and video analytics on the edge. We're talking about edge computing. I'll be talking about the later. Super 8K resolutions, and likewise. It's going to be tremendously, it's going to impact our society. So more use of AI for cybersecurity applications also. Lot of threats and risks connected with malware, ransomware, and likewise, it's going to reduce. So automation support the vulnerability of getting into the risk, and a lot of social engineering attacks can be prevented, sophisticated hacking possible, and automation of services talking criminal services that can be controlled, exploiting AI use in applications. So conversational AI, when you look upon that, you can see that Amazon, Echo, and Google Homes are the best examples of conversational AI today. So the technology is penetrating very high, and it is impacting our society, not only the industrial setups, but also the domestic cars. So the next is connected. The next trend is after IoT, after AI and ML applications, deep learning and NLPs, and likewise, robotic process automation, RPA. Let us have a trend, how the trend is going up now. You look at US or Asia Pacific or Europe or in Brazil, its application is going up like anything. Financial, healthcare, retail, transportation, IT and telecom. And it is expected the projected market share by $5 billion. Estimated CAGR around 20%, 24 till up to 24 they are expecting. And I'm sure about it, this data is maybe 2019 level, but I'm sure about it, it will be going to 26, 27%, sure. In US, it reduces the operational cost. Asia Pacific, automation and service sectors. Europe, automation logistics. Brazil, it is expanding to IT and support. You can see everywhere this application. And it is continuously going up. And it is estimated that the robotic trends, I have that figure also with me, the robotic trends going up around this figure, 31.45 billion. And it was exactly happening at the time of 2017, but 2025, it is 2025, it is expected that 41.65 billion expectations by Grandview Research. This is a market research output coming. So the productivity gains of robotic applications. So take an example of the insurance sector. Tens of thousands of life insurance policies in suspense that need to be remediated. Regulatory pressures. 30 plus individuals working on remediation on daily basis, and 4 to 5 weeks of training to bring new individuals on board to make them productive. You look at the automated side of this insurance sector. Robots developed on RPA platform within 2 weeks by a digital McKinsey team. And suspense remediation activity automated and executed by the robots. Number of robots highly scalable. No additional training or time robots needed. Policy conversion by, that the time for each policy reduced by 50%. See the performance of these robotic applications. Skill resource freedom. Human errors gone down. 80% reduction in the process cost. So if that is happening with robotic, I just given one example alone because my objective is to share you my idea also on the trends. Edge computing is the next one. So this is exactly a borderline. Before it reached up to the center, before it, being sent to the data center, they try to grab all information, real time. They do the data processing and they do the local processing. So this is exactly happening with edge computing. And you have the cloud storage, you have the IP network, and finally the data is processed and the real-time data will be passing on to the real-time decision-making. So edge computing, with IoT architecture, the endpoints, they're facilitating decision-making process. Look at the trend of edge computing. $5.7 billion incremental growth is expected in 2023. And the market will be accelerating at a CAGR of 41%. The next trend is quantum computing. The 4 quantum trends, rapid pace of the conversion of the classical quantum algorithms to quantum algorithms, performance improvement and optimization operating models, increasing the ambit of industrial use cases, and finally, it also supports enterprise adoption at scales. So future of quantum computing in 2021, optimization, machine learning, Monte Carlo simulations, big data analytics, material sciences. You look upon where exactly the research going to focus. We need to settle all the issues connected with optimization or application of machine learning in different sectors, Monte Carlo simulations, oil and gas or phosphate productions or manufacturing sites, and we can apply these simulation mathematical modelings into the computing. So biomedical, pharmaceutical, everywhere you can see the application of it. The next trend is augmented reality. Applied a lot of places now. Mobile devices, shopping experiences, process improvement, healthcare, and connected to many education tools, gaming industry, and marketing, clouds, and everywhere you can see new avatars are rising with the support of augmented reality. So this also another trend would like to share. And you can, when you ask me the market trend and collected, the global CAGR of augmented reality spending of 2017 to 2022, you can see on custom app or system integration, hardware, consulting, and you can see that almost in par with the same performance you can see. And it is going up like anything. Better collaboration possible, better increased efficiency possible, new business model, operating models, ensuring with the support of augmented reality and better marketing possibilities are reaching to the customers. So the top workforce development benefits all are connected with that. Real-time access to information, training, and all these are the part of edge, that means augmented reality. And if you look upon these variations of users, headset users, and VR users, if you look upon non-heads, you can see this everywhere it is increasing starting from 2019 to 2023. So augmented reality is going up to 2.2 billion and mobile AR embedded, it's 4,670 million in 2022. This is exactly the change you can see over here. So the next is, the major trend is blockchain. So the blockchain market by region, when you look upon that here, North America, Europe, APAC, and different countries. And it is also the major North America is going up. Europe is having that. It is also connected with APAC countries. So 2025 expectation is that the other countries also will be catching up slowly. Latin American, this is exactly connected with the billions of USD available through blockchains. And basically blockchains as a service, BaaS. This is exactly we need to look into. How far the BaaS is applying. All right, Amazon, Microsoft, all these big giants already applied BaaS, blockchain as a service, end to end. Anytime you can capture the data or see the source of the data from where it is, any error can be easily captured. So 3 categories of blockchains, private, public, and hybrid. But the hybrid model is moving up like anything nowadays. And it is meeting and it is making the ideal choice for various use cases. And in between, you can see that there is a term called as stable coins, exactly. It is flat coins and between cryptocurrency. The stable coins are coming up. So one of the top reasons for stablecoin blockchain technology trend is the introduction of Facebook's cryptocurrency Libra. This is exactly also facilitated towards the generation of this kind of technology app. Social networking platform, don't want to talk about too much on that. Blockchain technology, that means can limit the issues of the scandals, forgery, private violations, content relevance, or data controls, and likewise definitely can make possible. So the trend is going up. And economy and finance connected with such kind of applications. The PwC report clearly indicate that 75% of the financial institutions are about to adopt blockchain, and many industries are in the process. So if you look upon that, application of these blockchains for government services, taxation, legal, enforcement, legislations, bills, welfare, digitalized, all these aspects you can see over here. IoT powered by blockchains also smart contracts, public infrastructure, property, retail industry, industrial manufacturing services, connected vehicles, all areas you can see integration of IoT, IIoT applications. So blockchains with AI also there, around it is expected that our spending will be reaching 57.6 billion by the end of this year. And this also 54% of the organization will make use of AI and blockchains. Last but not least, 5G telecommunications. This is another trend exactly happening. And the speed, 5 generation mobile, the speed is exactly the matter. 10 to 100 times faster than it is also going to penetrate our continent and across the globe. So you can see over from 2020 to 2025, how this 5G is growing up. It was 0.2 level. Now it's going up to 3 levels exactly. You can see over the billions change happen through 5, and it is going up along. So don't want to talk too much on this short interaction. I just have the responsibility to connect you with the trends of engineering, technology, and management. So 5G in robotics, AI, and IoTs are they. 5G in developing countries also catching up. They are gradually moving away from LTEs and 4Gs, and like this, it is moving towards more 5G platforms. Just giving a few examples of engineering and technology. Nowadays, agriculture sector is also introduced another term called as agritecture. Agritecture means infrastructure integration of technology and engineering into agriculture sector. Recently, I wrote a paper on Agri 4.0 and agritecture, and it is clearly indicate the application of sensors, chips, and drones, and likewise how it's supporting volume of data to come back and finally process it and getting it towards decision-making process. So IoT is a crucial enabling technology, and it is facilitating agriculture sector. All these applications are applying, and emerging practices, collaboration, openness, innovation are there. And this sector, production infrastructure, connected farms, modern manufacturing machinery, connected tractors, machines, all these are possible with the support of IoT applications and AI and ML applications. So the shift is happening from, I can tell you this shift from, earlier we used to talk about traditional society, from the traditional society to industrial society. From industrial society, we are moving towards information society connected with engineering, technology, and management system. So last but not least, the construction sector. Here also you can see many changes which is happening, the trends. Remote technology, 3D printing, modular construction, design technology with BIM and VDC, all these are the changes which is happening there. So the last slides of mine in this session, hardly 2 minutes, I'm finishing off. Defining the foundation skills for the citizens, next generation citizens. What are the skills needed then? All right, McKinsey has plotted clearly what are the different types of skill set needed for the next generation. Next generation citizens exactly living in this world. Let us have a look on it exactly. 56 foundational skills are needed to survive. These 56 deltas across 13 skill groups and 4 categories. Major one connected with a cognitive. Second is interpersonal, then self-leadership, and 4th, digital. You see that earlier we used to talk about different types of skill set and likewise. Now critical thinking, planning, ways of working, understanding complexities, managing uncertainties, managing complexities, all are turned to be the skill set needed for the new generation students. We call it as ultra generation or Z generation or Y generation, whichever the generation it may, they have. So the pedagogies need to be changed. Completely the pedagogies we are applying in the schools and the colleges, we need to completely relook into and integrate it with the new skills. In addition to the textual knowledge, we need to go for that. And we need to talk more on communication, interactions, and likewise. In addition to that, finally, the digital, what you would say, literacy and digital skills. So I'm sure about it, this short interaction with you for this conference, which is totally connected with engineering and management trends, and likewise, I spend more time on the technology. It will be enable the researchers and intellectuals staying over here to look on the the challenges of this technology integration into the industries. And you could be able to come out with a research output which are closely connected with the new trends and solutions, right? And thank you so much for inviting me for this conference. And thanks to IFERP, thanks to Mr. Sudhakar and Pooja, and finally, and the person Pradeep. Thank you, Pradeep, also introducing me into this crowd. Best wishes to this conference, and effective deliberations will be happening on these kind of parameters in this conference. Thank you so much for this. Last slide, this is the one I have shown to you, and thank you one and all. Best wishes.
Thank you very much, sir, for your eye-opening session and the guidance you have provided, where the international market will be going, what changes are going to happen in the world, digital revolution is going to take place, and how the pedagogies need to be changed to face this digital revolution. Many concepts like IoT, artificial intelligence, AI, ML, edge computing, quantum computing, augmented reality, robotic process automation, blockchain, all these technologies are on what we can say, as you use the word, path towards the hyper automation. So one should be ready for this hyper automation. One should change his or her personality and learn new skill sets to face the challenges in new era. So thank you for providing glimpses of all these different sectors, technological developments, different areas of technology, along with the evidences and the predictions of their market share in billions or so. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Pradeep.
So with this, I'd like to thank once again all the participants, delegates, and dignitaries who are present in this session. Dr. P.S. Purandare, sir, Head of Department, who welcomed all of us. Then today's keynote speakers, Professor S.N. Kulkarni, sir, Professor Ahmed Putrawan, sir, Professor Dr. Dilip Kumar, sir, just now we heard him, IFERP authorities, all the people, personnel working to make this event successful. I thank one and all, and hereby declare that the inaugural session of day 2 we can conclude, and all are requested, all the participants, session coordinators and session chairs are requested to start with the technical sessions. Once again, thank you one and all. And there is one more instruction that after the technical sessions are over, there will be valedictory session, which is mentioned in the schedule. So at 1 p.m., all of you are requested to join for valedictory function, where the best paper and best presentation awards also will be announced. And the session will end by vote of thanks. Thank you one and all. Have a good day.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
I give short introduction and start.